Welcome into another episode of Three's a Crowd. I'm Preston Vargas with Eli Atwood. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We have a new goal to get to 200 subscribers by football season, which is September 9th, so 5 months away. I think that's a doable goal. So give us the support that we need, and let's get into this one. So we'll start with the game last night. Luka Doncic leaving the game early with a hamstring injury in a blowout loss against the OKC Thunder. How does this impact the Lakers going down the stretch of the regular season?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a big loss going towards the end of the regular season. Luckily, the Lakers are in a good position in terms of win-loss, but hopefully he'll be back before the playoffs.
Yeah, hopefully he'll be back before the playoffs, but it sucks for Luka because he played 64 games this season. If he misses the rest of the regular season, he'll not be eligible for end of season awards.
Yeah, it would suck, and it's been a great year for him too.
I mean, especially the past 13 games where he's averaged 30 points per game, including that 42-point game against Cleveland. But that goes into another topic about the 65 game minimum. Obviously, we've seen players like Cade Cunningham with the collapsed lung late in the season. Wemby's missed some time. In fact, he can only miss two more games. So can Shea. Does the NBA need to look at the 65 game minimum?
Yeah, I think maybe they need to change it a little bit. I think 65 games is okay, but maybe drop it down a little bit.
I mean,
Maybe like a 50 game minimum or something like that.
in my opinion, the 65 game minimum works good, but I think you need to have something in place for legitimate injuries. So if you make it, I think if you make an all-star team, you could be exempt from the 65 game minimum. If you play, let's say 50 games in the season.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it's just tough because it's hard to balance like real injuries versus fake ones.
Oh yeah. And with the whole load, it was in place because of the whole load managing issue in the regular season and not having players sit out big games. But I don't know. Do you really see these injuries if you had players sitting out? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's not really the type of thing you could be asking, honestly. I mean, injuries happen. Can't
I
really
mean,
put a cause on that.
oh yeah, that's for sure. It's just something that sucks. You can't really control it.
Yeah. Moving on, we've got the women's Final Four preview.
Mm.
UConn and South Carolina, Texas, UCLA. Who do you see making it to the championship?
I mean, honestly, the first game between UConn and South Carolina is technically the better game, in my opinion. You got two legendary coaches like Don Staley, Gino Auriemma, and you got good players on UConn as well as South Carolina. But I would say UConn's going to be the team to beat.
Yeah, for sure. I think that UConn South Carolina game may be the best game of the whole tournament here.
So let me get a quick look at in terms of the title odds. But I'll talk about the second game while I'm looking it up. Texas and UCLA. I would say Madison Booker's been a great player for Texas, alongside on the other side, Lauren Betts for UCLA. Really, I think UCLA might be the team that can give UConn a run for their money, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
So in terms of the title odds, so I remember at the beginning of the tournament, it was minus 260 for UConn. UConn's now favored by minus 160. So their odds have gone down from the beginning of the tournament.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens on the women's side. The winner of those two games will be playing on Sunday afternoon at 3:30, which is an interesting start time in the middle of Easter dinner.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I'm not sure how many people are going to be watching that game, honestly.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Moving on, we've got the men's Final Four preview, of course,
Hmm.
happening tomorrow. Weird start times here also, 6:09 Eastern and 8:49. UConn versus Illinois, and earlier the two matchups, and Michigan, Arizona. Who you see making it out on top of both of these matchups?
So we'll start with the first game real quick. at 6 o'clock. Honestly, I see UConn going to the national championship here over Illinois because even though Illinois they're playing right across the state line over in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil, there will be a home field advantage for Illinois. But like I said in earlier episodes, Dan Hurley in March, he's really something else when it comes to this. Even though I think he lost to Florida last year, he's in the Final Four for the third time in 4 years, and I think he has enough to make the national championship, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean that team has shown great resiliency. Being able to come back in that last game and win the way they did, it's
Hmm.
impressive.
Absolutely. And don't discredit Illinois with Keaton Wagler, Stojakovic, Ivasic, all those guys. And then Michigan, Arizona. We did a small preview of this on Monday where I thought Arizona was going to win, and I still think so. But I think the matchup to look at is how can Yaxel Lindenberg go against this Arizona team? What kind of game is he going to have for Michigan to move on to the championship game?
Yeah, he's definitely going to be the one to push Michigan over the edge, if anyone. But I do think Arizona gets away with this. They just have such a good all-around team.
And I saw that Cadeau, he had an allergic reaction. I think he was away from the team for a little bit,
Hmm.
receiving treatment. I don't know what that allergic reaction is, but hopefully he's going to be 100% going into this game on Saturday night.
Yeah, hopefully. Moving over to the NBA, Jamahl Mosley is under fire after a blowout home loss. This comes just shortly after the largest loss in Magic history a few games ago. I mean, what do you think? Does Jamahl Mosley need to go? Is he the problem, Preston?
And we have the talent like Paolo Banchero, Desmond Bain. You trade 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bain to get out of the play-in. Now you're in ninth place in the play-in. So you're not playing the first step of the play-in. You're playing the second step, hoping to you got to win 2 games in order to get into the playoffs. But looking at the schedule coming up, you have Dallas and New Orleans, 2 teams eliminated from the playoffs. You need to win both those games, not one, both those games, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely two-win situation, and even then, is that even gonna be enough? I mean, Jamal Mosley is significantly underperformed with the talent on this roster, and sometimes this team looks great, and sometimes it looks like the worst team in the league.
Oh yeah, I mean, you had that win streak last month, and then you follow that up with losing like 5 straight games or 7.
I think we're 1-5 or 1-6, like 1-1 somewhere in the middle, but
I saw we're
not
2-8 in
good.
our last 10 games, but
Yeah,
you can't lose to the Hawks at home by that much with the fans chanting "Fire Mosley" at home. You lose to Toronto on the road in the worst loss in Magic history. That you preceded
yeah,
that with a
it's getting
7 game losing
unacceptable.
streak. But I think,
Yeah,
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I mean, Jamal Mosley is the problem. He has to go. We've been saying it for a while now, and I think it's becoming evident to more and more fans.
Absolutely. And I was going to say the most egregious loss there in the losing streak was at home to the Pacers. The
Yeah,
Indiana Pacers, who had lost 16 straight games up to that point, and you lose at home?
truthfully, honestly, a historically bad run between losing to the Pacers, losing by 50 away, and losing by 30 recently. I mean, terrible performances.
Absolutely. Toronto, I don't mind them losing, but not by that much and getting embarrassed.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then against the Kings the last week, you only beat them by 4. A team they have talent, but they're a sorry organization. I'll put it that way. With the talent that they have, they should not be the bottom of the West, but they are. And you should have beat them by a lot more, especially if they have to travel 3,000 miles away to play us in Orlando.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But looking at
Moving
the
on.
remaining schedule, you also play the Bulls on the schedule. We also play the Pistons at home, which I think by then the Pistons might have the number 1 overall seed secured. So we'll see if that game really matters to Detroit. That's a winnable game for us. The final two games, like I said, against an already eliminated Bulls team and on the road against the Celtics, who might have the two seed wrapped up by then.
Yeah.
So hopefully, let, let's take a look at the standings before we move on. Um, so the Magic are a half game back from the Hornets for that eight seed, and let me see where the Hornets are in their last 10 games. 7-3, and I don't think we play them the rest of the season, but we gotta hope the Hornets slip up, and we need to bear down and climb the standings as fast as we can the last six games.
And moving on, got the Wizards of making a fan think he won $10,000. Can you walk us through that, Preston?
So yes, the Wizards they had a contest at halftime where, or not at halftime, like one of those timeouts. If you're familiar with going to an NBA game, that you have those contests on the court for fans to do. So a fan was blindfolded and he had to make a half court shot to win $10,000. So he puts up the shot. The arena gets all the music and bells and whistles, making him think that celebrating that he's won. So I didn't see the video, but the fan was celebrating as well and thinking that he won 10 grand, only to for them to show him the replay and it missed. But in my opinion, this is a I it wasn't funny in my opinion because making a fan think he made life-changing money. I mean, if I thought I won 10 grand, that would be a lot of money to me. But it's not a way to treat your fans if you're a 19 win team hoping to get fans to come support you.
Yeah, exactly. They definitely should not only apologize, but at least give him something, I think, honestly. Repair that.
Like $1,000 maybe.
Yeah.
And then we'll go on to this story that you sent me last night. I'll let you walk a little more into this one, but Akron and Kent State could reportedly be shut down. So their football program's not the best in the country, but what could this mean for college football?
Yeah, I mean, I think this would be one of the some of the first FBS teams to have their schools shut down, at least that I'm aware of,
Actually, let me look this up and
at least
see.
within recent years.
Because I know there was a school in Birmingham that was a D3 school that their baseball team went on a run to the I think the Division 3 College World Series and nearly won it in their final year as a school.
Huh. Yeah, I know there have been some other like smaller universities like D3s and maybe even some smaller D1 universities shutting down, but I mean, an FBS school, that'd be pretty big shakeup.
And I think this is I do know St. Francis after making the tournament. I think this was their last year in the 25-26 season. They're going to move down to D3 after winning the NCAA or after going to the NCAA tournament in the first four. I think Hartford did that a few years ago. They made the tournament in 2021 and then reclassified to Division 3. And then I know that it's rare for FBS to go down to FCS, but there has been precedent with that, with Idaho doing that in 2017, I believe it was. But having two schools shut down that are FBS programs and established MAC programs, that is definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, another thing I've heard too is they made merge, which would end one of the better rivalries in the MAC, so
Oh yeah.
we'll see.
I mean, I think the schools are like 10 miles apart.
Yeah.
Let me see this. So, there's a candidate for governor said he wanted to shut down some Ohio universities that are struggling with financial issues and lower enrollment. Uh, but I would say, yeah, I think that's definitely been a struggle for years in Ohio with Ohio State University. really playing a role as the more prestigious program in Ohio. In fact, I don't think Ohio State has lost to a team in Ohio in 100 years.
Wow.
But I think they could, if they played Cincinnati, they could give them a run for their money. But
Yeah, Cincinnati would probably be the next best. Yeah.
either Cincinnati, Miami of Ohio, or University of Ohio, Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, Ohio does have a lot of FBS schools, most of
Yeah,
them
they have a lot
combined.
of schools in the MAC.
But we'll see. We'll see where that goes with Akron and Kent State. That'll definitely be a story to follow. Now let's get into our other headlines. So this is a funny one for Major League Baseball. Royals catcher Carter Jensen, he was scratched from the lineup yesterday because he overslept. Of course, the game was at 1 o'clock, but if you're a professional baseball player, how do you oversleep?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I'll have to check the score. I don't know if the Royals won that game or not, but he's definitely on the. I would say he's definitely in line to lose his starting catching job. He's not really a mainstay there. And then
Yeah.
in the NFL, Stephon Gilmore, the All-Pro cornerback from the in the late 2010s, he announced his retirement today. How are you going to remember his career?
Yeah, I mean, he had a few good years, good few years. I think he won a Defensive Player of the Year even.
You know, in
So
2019.
definitely had a good prime, but for a lot of his career, he was okay, I would say, you know. So it's kind of a unusual one in that aspect.
And at his peak in the late 2010s, when he won that Defensive Player of the Year, 99 overall in Madden, that's how I'll probably remember him, getting him in Madden and winning Super Bowls with him.
Yeah.
And then the Pirates call up number one prospect Connor Griffin. He'll start at shortstop today as the Pirates have their home opener today against the Baltimore Orioles. How do you think he's going to do? I think, let me see, how old is he? I know he's not even 20 yet. Or he's 19 years old. So he's
Yeah, Pirates
drafted.
definitely have a promising future.
Oh, yeah, definitely with Paul Skeens. I think they're currently working on a contract extension with him already, similar to Corbin Carroll, like 5 years, 110 million is in the
Gotcha.
ballpark of that. But that I think that's definitely too soon for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's definitely a quick, but see if it works out.
So he'll be 20 later on this month. So we'll see how he does. But drafted in 2024, ninth overall, I think he's definitely going to be. I think he'll definitely be a superstar at shortstop. Probably. I mean, some people in fantasy baseball are already stashing him on their keeper list, and he's definitely a someone that could potentially be a franchise cornerstone on the offensive side. But if they're looking to extend him, should they consider extending Paul Skeens as well?
Yeah, maybe so.
So there's no active contract extension. So they'll have him through 2029. So he'll be a free agent after the before the 2030 season. So if the Pirates want to keep the best player that they've maybe ever had, they should definitely extend him now and build around him and Griffin. They definitely need to spend a lot more than they have been in the past. And then
Yep.
Italy, they missing the World Cup for the third cycle in a row. So they have not been to a World Cup since 2014, and now they'll miss it for the third straight year. How crazy is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy for Italy, a country that has one of the better domestic leagues with Serie A and then can't even field a decent team to play on the international scale. It's weird.
And this team, they won the I think Euro 2021 and beat England in what was seen as an upset, but we thought that would have been a golden era for Italy, but again they missed the World Cup. Let me see their path to the World Cup here because let me just see what they did in qualifying because And also the way the World Cup is now expanding to 48, there's no excuse now. The previous times it's 36. You can't get into a 48 team World Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, Group I in Europe, and they finished 6 points behind Norway, so they had advanced to the playoffs. So in the playoffs uh this past week, they played Northern Ireland. They beat them 2-0 in the first semifinal. Then they played Bosnia and Herzegovina in the final and lost that game on penalty kicks 4-1. So I think the head of their FA resigned or something like that. But it's definitely a shock, and hopefully they can make it in 2030.
Yeah.
And then TCU and Sonny Dykes, they agreed to a multi-year extension with TCU. This news coming down about an hour ago. But right now, there's still no talk on the numbers. But is this a good move for TCU to keep him?
Yeah, I think it's fine, you know.
They made the national championship in 2022, I believe. They lost to Georgia in that blowout, but he's kept them steady so far. I think even though they lost Josh Hoover in the transfer portal to Indiana, I think TCU is always one of those solid Big 12 contenders.
Yeah, exactly.
And then our UFL Week 2 preview. Week 2 beginning tonight with the DC Defenders taking on the Columbus Aviators. What are you expecting from this game?
We'll have to see, you know, both teams, you know, get a good start to the season, hopefully, and keep the UFL quality of ball high. I think that's what I'd say for all the games, honestly.
Oh yeah, with this one in particular, and both teams lost week one. The offensive line was a concern for the DC defenders. Of course, Tommy getting sacked, I think, 5 times by DC. So that's going to be the key. But in terms of game pick here, I would say I'd have to give the side edge to Columbus in their home opener. But you hate to see DC fall to 0-2 here.
Yeah.
Who do you think's going to win this one?
Honestly, I don't know. We'll have to see.
All right. And then the game that we are going to be at tomorrow night, the Louisville Kings take it on the Orlando Storm. Of course, the Storm getting the first one in that electric atmosphere in Orlando. What are your expectations for this one for Jack Plummer in week 2?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what happens, but the Storm's definitely gonna get the win with the crowd behind them.
Go Storm. The only issue I see is how Louisville's defense can hold up. They honestly should have beat Birmingham on Friday night in their opener, but they beat themselves on offense because of that. I think if the defense for Orlando can get a good pick, I think it'll be a win for us. I would say 20-10, I would say the score would be. Then on Sunday, we have the Birmingham Stallions taking on the Houston Gamblers. Of course, Houston probably looked like the worst team in week 1. And going against the Stallions at home, do you think that the Gamblers can get the win in front of their home crowd?
Yeah, maybe they will. We'll see.
We'll see. That game on Easter Sunday at 6 o'clock. So interesting time slots to put there. But I would say I'd give the Stallions the slight advantage there. And then the game of the week, people are saying the St. Louis Battlehawks taking on the Dallas Renegades. Of course, Austin Reed for the Renegades broke a UFL record in terms of passing yards with over 340 passing yards. How can he make that performance up in week 2?
Yeah, I mean, definitely just needs to keep going with what he's got already. See if they're able to keep it or not.
That Battlehawks defense is definitely a good one, led by Peta. I forgot his last name, but he was Defensive Player of the Year. But he's definitely good on the defensive line for St. Louis. I think Mosley, their strong safety, is another good player. I think this might be the toughest game to pick, but I would have to say uh, Dallas at home. but I don't know why they're playing on a Tuesday night.
I think this is going to be the worst attended game in the UFL, maybe of the season. I mean, a Tuesday night in Dallas. Dallas had the lowest attendance last week, and it's a Tuesday night. I
Oh
don't see
yeah.
this ending well.
Actually, let me see Toyota Stadium's capacity in Frisco because they're making renovations to it right now, so I don't think it's completely full.
I think
Uh,
it's like 9,000 or something.
11,000 during construction. So I'm surprised they're even using that venue, but they did want to play in smaller venues, so I guess they get what they
Yeah,
get.
I guess it's a look towards next season mainly. And I mean, they didn't fill it last game, so
Yeah, only 8,000 fans. Although Orlando got 11,000 fans, and people were saying that it wasn't a good atmosphere, but
it wasn't terrible. But I mean, what are you really supposed to do? It's the UFL. I mean, it's not really much better options.
yeah, definitely not much better options. But I agree on a Tuesday night in Dallas, especially in Frisco, 30 miles up the road. It's definitely not good on a school night, especially in
Yeah.
in the suburbs of Dallas to have a football game there. I would say probably 6,000 might attend that one. And would it's unfortunate that it's only 6,000 because that's probably one of the best games of the weekend.
Yep.
But anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We'll be back for another one on Monday. And of course, we'll be streaming the Final Four for the women's side tonight, coverage starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. Anyways, thank you for watching. Have a great evening, and we'll see you again next time.